What is going on, everybody? We are going to be doing some oil paint washes on some Eldar Swooping Hawks. So give me just a couple minutes, see if anybody jumps in the chat or the stream here, and then we'll get started. I'm just going to probably use these two colors. We got phthalo blue, red shade. If I had the phthalo blue green shade, I would have used it because I'm kind of going for a sea foam kind of green blue, but whatever, we're going to try it out. So we're going to wash the helmet and the wings with our blue, and we'll wash the entire gold armor with Aurelian, which is a really nice kind of royal yellow, not as pure as like a cadmium. Anybody watching this, I used to do oil painting before miniature painting. Well, I guess technically I did miniature painting when I was really young, and then I got into oil painting, and now I'm back into miniature painting. So we're going to go through, we'll talk about some things to know with oil painting. One, this is all poisonous. So I normally put my paintbrush in my mouth to redo the tip when I'm painting miniatures to get the tip good. And you don't want to do that with oil paint because this is poisonous. As far as I know, this is the least toxic mineral spirits you can buy. This is Gamsol by Gamblin. It is an odorless mineral spirit, and it has a lower harmful vapor rating than any other mineral spirit. So I do think this is worth it if you're interested in trying to keep it as, I guess, safe for your health as possible, especially long term. So if you're going to spend a little money, it's not that much, but it's worth the money to spend on this over just getting the mineral spirits at like your Home Depot or hardware store. Hey, what's up, Kyle? How's it going? Doing good. I'm just going to do some oil washes here and show everybody. This will be the second time I'm doing the oil washes on miniatures. They have been, well, let me go over this first. So this has been, it's an odorless mineral spirit of the highest purity, having been refined to remove all aromatic components. So you can use this to clean your paintbrushes, and you can use it to thin oil paint. Now, normally you would thin oil paint with like linseed oil or a medium, but with what we're doing, we don't need all that because all that slows drying time. We want to mix it with this and a lot of it. And we want it to flow really, really smooth. And we want the dry time to be as low as possible. I still probably won't work on these for a day or two. Oh, nice. Are you doing oil paints as well, Kyle? I ended up selling all my Winsor Newton oil paints. I do like the Rembrandt. I like Gamblin. They're all pretty good, but I had so many that I sold a bunch of them. And I don't think I own any of the Winsor Newton oil paints anymore. This is a professional grade oil paint, and it's very nice. You can tell these bottles are old. I've had them for many, many years. And even though I was an oil painter, I wasn't, I guess, that accomplished or anything. I didn't actually probably paint that many oil paintings in my life. But these are from Holland, and they're kind of expensive because they are high in series, right? So series 3, series 4 probably goes up to series 6, maybe up to series 8. Higher the series, the more expensive they are. So we're going to prep this on a piece of cardboard. I wouldn't do this on oil painting normally, but for miniature painting, this will be fine. And this is going to, that was way too much probably for what we're doing, but at least you can see it on camera. So you can see all the oil around that pigment. I'm going to make a little dish to clean. This is, the paint was on this side yesterday, but so this is going to be our little well to clean our brush. And I got to remind myself, don't put my brush in my mouth. But what I want to show you is all of this is like oil. It's linseed oil, which is traditionally what's used to thin oil paint and mix oil paint. So the cardboard is going to help absorb that out. I'm almost sad I put so much paint on there. I wish I could scoop it back in. And we'll rinse our brush in the mineral spirits. For this application or use, it's probably not necessary to use any kind of professional grade oil paint. A lot of people use the Winton, which is Winsor Newton, and then it's called Winton, Winton, and that's their student grade, so it's cheaper than their professional grade. And we'll put a little bit of this. This is a really powerful blue. Phthalo blue. I'm going to mix, because I only have to do the head and the wings on these guys, I will be in the blue. I'll just be mixing the blue in a little water bottle cap. And the yellow, I'll just mix it in here. This is a really good opportunity to use the little plastic that comes on like a blister pack. You know, your model would be in there. If you keep that little plastic cup, this is a good use for it. These are little plastic like hors d'oeuvre trays I get from the dollar store. You get like 12 of them for $1. So they're about 10 cents a piece, less than 10 cents a piece. Yeah, oh, what up, Zane? Yeah, even you actually could mix this too, like right on a piece of plastic bag if you wanted to. I'm just going to use a piece of cardboard. Now, it probably would have been best if I set this on the cardboard quite a while ago to really let some of that oil dry out. But I'm pretty familiar with oil paint, and I'm not worried about it. I'm going to use a pipette or pipette to thin my oil paints. So probably just, it's kind of floating in the top of that Gamsol. So just to remind everybody, oil paint is the best paint in the world. It's amazing. It smells wonderful. I love everything about it. But it is poisonous for the most part. You don't actually have to wear gloves or anything while you use it. Most of it's not going to be even absorbable through your skin. But it's possible if you had like small cuts on your hands. Also, some pigments are really toxic, like cadmiums or lead white. Cadmium's a heavy metal. Your body doesn't really have any way to easily get it out of your body. So after years of absorbing it, you could give yourself nerve damage. But from the occasional miniature wash, probably never going to happen. But definitely don't consume it. Don't put the brush in your mouth. So it looks like our I don't know if this guy's holding. He's trying to die on us again, Zane. The size 6 is trying to die again. So I think what I'm going to do is probably the gold armor first on all of them. Then I'll wipe it away. And then maybe go back and do the blue. I don't want to do the blue and then necessarily get the gold. I don't know. It might get a little messy, but it should be fine. I haven't. I'm using this beat up size 6 ghost brush. This one's trying to die on me. I also have a natural hair calligraphy brush. Yaziba is the brand. It's just a generic like calligraphy Chinese brush, but it is a natural hair. Who knows what the hair actually is made of? It's not a good brush. You can tell it's never even been used and it's already splitting. But it might work good for us. So here we go. The ghost paint brushes are just my paint brushes. I launched them on Kickstarter in 2019 and they've been very successful. So I actually put way too much yellow on there. We're gonna, well, I don't know how much we're actually gonna need for our swooping hawks here. And I don't know if this is actually a dark enough yellow. Like just holding it up against it. I'm not sure this is dark enough. Just put some mineral spirits in there. All right, that pipette is clogged. Of course, let's get there we go. And what we want to create here is basically like an ink. And we're just going to keep mixing it. Put a little more paint in there. I know we're going to have to mix more than this for 10 characters or 10 models. Now, this would be better if you let it sit on your cardboard for a little longer so we could get more of that oil out. But here we are. All right, so we're going to need quite a bit more of the mineral spirits. Gamsol mineral spirits, highly recommend. If you want to do any oil painting, I think it is the least toxic made. Work out any chunkies. If this does kill our brush, at least it went out with a bang. I'm really rubbing it in here. That's fine. And I'm gonna just test it on a on a part of the rock here. All right. I think we can mix up. We'll take some more paint. I really want it to flow good, which means more mineral spirits, but I want to make sure I make enough. That way I don't have to do this twice. These swooping hawks were all gloss coated with AK Interactive Gloss Varnish. So I painted all the metallic base coats, and I hit them with a gloss varnish. And hopefully that helps this paint flow really nice. According to Marco, Not Just Mecha channel, which is a really good channel, who also does oil washes, you don't have to gloss varnish your models before you oil wash them. But why not? All right, there we go. That's hopefully enough. We got a lot of mineral spirits in there. I'm going to check it on a paper towel here in a second. This really should be darker, I think. So let's just see if it. It's like ink consistency. I'm really debating if I should add. Okay, I'm going to do it. We're calling an audible. I'm going to bust out Orient Lake from Sennelier. Sennelier. This is a French paint. And it's like a red-orange, highly transparent. It's going to look like orange on camera, but I'm going to actually take some of this. Mix it in here. That's a highly transparent, like kind of red-orange in thin layers. It looks yellow. It's really a cool paint if you like oil painting. There we go. That looks maybe a little better. You can see just a little bit of that Orient Lake. And we really changed the color of the yellow. But I just wanted to show up better on the model. That pure yellow, the Aurelian yellow, it would have tinted everything a nice yellow. But I think this will give it almost like a fiery gold effect. So here we go. Let's try it out. That's enough fiddling around. We'll jump in on the model. So you can see just putting the brush on the paper towel, it hopefully wicks off. And I'll wipe it off and start kind of fresh here. So we will start right here with the X-Arc and then ruin him if we need to. And what I'm going to do is just basically cover him in this oil wash. Another thing a lot of people use oil washes for is just like the dark black and brown, like a Van Dyke brown or a sepia or, a black wash. And you can create a really good black wash for like a panel line effect. So we're covering him. Not going to be too careful, but along the wings, I'll try to somewhat avoid getting it on the blue. And that's about it for him. And there's some parts I didn't go back and clean up or anything yet, which is fine. Because I'm still going to go back in and like highlight. I'll wait a day or so until this dries. Probably more than a day. Because I didn't have any time to strain out more of that linseed oil from the paint. Probably wait a couple days for this to completely dry. And then we'll varnish it again. And we'll go back on with the acrylics again. So hopefully, I don't know if it shows up good. That shows up pretty good. So you see how much more gold he looks now? Like this is the oil wash guy. Here's the previous one. So it definitely gave it a nice tint. And you don't have to worry about it drying on your brush, really. It's good forever. But what we're going to do is you can take Q-tips and pull it off areas you want to try to highlight. So you can see it's, hopefully you can see it's absorbing that yellow oil paint off. This is what people do a lot with the, when you do like a black line, you know, you put that black oil paint wash on them. All right, so he's done. You can also dip your Q-tip into your mineral spirits and really wipe away. And you could do this for a long time. Like I could do this probably tomorrow morning if I wanted, depending on how much mineral spirits were in my paint. So this is an oil wash. It's basically being treated just like a normal wash, except we get the advantage of it drying really slow. And we can remove it off the model entirely. We could erase it completely if we wanted to with enough mineral spirits and patience. You can see there, like his upper body with the wash, and then kind of that more almost brass. It almost makes the other part look brass. And this has given us that more yellow, canary yellow gold I was hoping for. I mean, I am glad I put a little bit of that orange red into the mix. So we'll dab him a little bit off. Basically, only trying to dab the kind of top. Try to, because I had painted in some highlights before. So I'm trying to basically dab off the oil paint from those highlighted areas. It's still going to have some residue, but hopefully it brightens it up a little bit. Yeah, it's much, this is probably more of like an oil glaze. When we get to the blue, it'll be probably more of what like a wash would be like. This is probably more like a glaze because we're not really, I actually did quite a bit of work on the gold area with purple ink and stuff to try and, you know, create shadows and depth and stuff. So basically I'm just reintroducing a yellow kind of fire into the gold. And I could really slop it on and then it would just be a little bit more work with the Q-tips to try and pull it off. But yeah, like browns, blacks, blues, dark greens are all going to be really good for this. And you can see I'm like rolling the Q-tip over and dabbing. These are the Equate brand Q-tips. I heard if you actually buy the Q-tip brand Q-tip, it won't fall apart as much. See how it's falling apart? And that is, you know, you can leave little strings on your model. But hopefully we don't have that problem. I'll get a couple fresh ones so I can keep using a new one. Yeah, and this, you can do actually a lot of oil paint tricks on your models that, especially for like weathering and streaking and stuff, because the ability to go back and move the paint around for so long gives you a really good advantage. And we'll do some more oil paint stuff in the future. One thing I'm actually excited to, well, that's the wrong phrase. One thing I actually plan on doing with these is I will probably do like a panel liner on them with a black, or maybe just the Death Shroud Clear from GW to really darken in some of those recesses. I do like the tone, though, that it's reintroducing to the gold and making it pop. And then hopefully we can use our gold acrylic paints again to highlight again one more time once this is done. And hopefully that highlight can be used to clean up any mistakes where the blue and yellow or got on each other and we didn't want it. And we probably actually mixed up way too much of that yellow, but I wasn't sure how much I'd need. This Orient Lake red color, that could be maybe a cool one to oil wash some fire dragons or like some corn demons, or even just like a fire effect. But yeah, we're just going to keep moving along here and putting the oil paint on these models. And then we'll mix up the blue and do that next. And then after we get all these models oil washed, what I'll probably do then is turn off the stream and then restart a new stream and work on some models that are dry. Did you get sleep last night, Zane? That was cracking me up yesterday with you were on like a 48-hour no sleep paint-a-thon. Oh, what up, Tempest? Yeah, and I mean, you can mix, I would even like, if you were doing a black oil paint, it's not a bad idea to throw a little bit of brown in there too, just to give it a more chromatic shadow color. Yeah, one thing that's going to slow down your oil paints from drying fast is the amount of linseed oil in them. So one way to combat that is let them sit on a piece of cardboard, and that'll absorb a lot of that oil out. But if we got to wait a little bit for them to dry, that's okay. Give us a couple extra days to reflect on the horrible mistakes we made in wanting to paint a gigantic multi-thousand point Eldar army. Yeah, I actually love using oil paints just for the smell. I think they smell exactly like what a painter studio should smell like. I haven't used them on models much. I think this is second or third time maybe. I mean, I do have like this, the panel line color. I have this one, which is like an oil brusher. But actually getting out the Rembrandt oil paints or the Gamblin oil paints is fun. We'll get a more dramatic effect on the blue. Yeah, basically this is like an oil glaze. And then the blue will be somewhat more of a wash because we'll darken the recesses. Also, the more time you spend actually using your Q-tip to clean off the oil, then the less time it'll take to dry. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm okay with them, taking a while to dry and just working on some other stuff while they dry. What I'll probably do is not touch them tomorrow, which who even knows what day it is anymore? It might be Sunday. So probably not touch them at all Sunday, not touch them at all Monday. Maybe Monday night I'll hit them with the varnish and work on them from there. I think it's fairly safe to mix layers of oil and acrylic as long as each layer is dry and separated by a varnish, although the oil paint can go right on top of acrylic paint. People sometimes underpaint in acrylic when they do oil paintings just because it dries fast and they like it. If they're not doing like a wet into wet technique. Oh, we got a little bit of Q-tip hair on them. Yeah, so I got the cheap Walmart brand Q-tips, but I think what I heard is if you get the expensive ones, they don't fall apart as much. They're not really that expensive either. I just the name brand Q-tip compared to mine are from Equate, which I think is Walmart's like generic brand. Yeah, we're not being overly worried about this running anywhere. See, I am glad when I went with the higher highlight color, I knew it didn't look great at the time, but I knew if I put a nice kind of golden yellow over it with the oil paint, we could tint it or glaze it and get it back to a nice yellow metallic gold looking instead of brass or whatever we initially kind of look like. All right, cool. So there we go, is the yellow. Looks like we made a little too much. Not too crazy. What I could do is I could get a little pot like this and I could save it. This is actually like an acrylic wash that I made. I've done it a couple times. And I save them. If I make way too much, they're just kind of generic. Maybe we'll even use this one when we bust it out. They're not oil though. But you could save this in a little pot. I can't I don't remember what like these would be called or where I got them. I think I got them in the dollar store, but they're little plastic cups with a rubber lid that seals really good. So I bought a little pack of them. I think I got like a 6-pack of them. And if I see them again, I'm buying 24 more of them. And we'll work on the blue here in just one second. Let's jump in the chat and see what people are. Hey, that's not too bad. 7 hours. And now you're going back at it for a whole another. I actually gave away. I used to have a bunch of craft paint when I first got back into the hobby. I bought quite a bit of craft paint. And I ended up giving it all away to one of the younger people at the game store. You know, some like kids in their teens or whatever playing 40K. And I just said, hey, you want 40 bottles of paint? I just gave it all to them. So I don't really have much in the way of craft paint. I got like these 2 that I don't use, but they're not bad. These kind of real neon green and neon blue kind of colors. They're actually not bad. I used them on some Zinch stuff a while back. And then I got 2 kind of browns that I used on some Stormcast bases. So I kept them just in case I was going to do more Stormcast guys. That way I had the same paint to match their bases. All right, this blue, we're going to just mix in the bottle cap. So hopefully my yellow is out of my brush pretty good. Blue and yellow make green. So a little bit of yellow's not going to hurt. In fact, we might use that to our advantage and take a touch of that yellow. Maybe one more touch. Oh yeah, there we go. That's nice. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what we're working with here on the paper towel. Probably not nearly enough pigment in it yet. Yeah, and I probably, on the Walmart brush subject, I have a paintbrush company, so almost 90% of the time, you probably just see me using my own brushes. It's good for the brand, helps people get a chance to see them in action if they want to maybe pick up a set on eBay or back a Kickstarter or whatever. There we go. That looks pretty good. So this would be what you would probably consider more of a wash or panel line. And hopefully, if this looks good on camera, you can see it go right into all the recesses. There it is. It's essentially like using a gloss wash. Trying to not get the full-on glare. And we could probably even actually have gone darker with this. But you almost just have to wipe it over like one time. That gives it a really nice... Let's see if we can get a nice good view over the camera. See, that just fills in all those little wings. Probably will go in and alternate wing like feathers. I think that looks pretty sharp. And since this is the first unit of Swooping Hawks, I'd be more likely to do it on this one than maybe in the future the third one, when maybe I'm a little more burnt out of painting Swooping Hawks. So there we go. And then hopefully we get a good looking effect on his helmet. And a little bit on the gun. This basically is just going to line those gemstones so we can see exactly what's making us upset later when we have to paint them all. And I'm not even going to wipe any of this off unless it's pooling in a weird way. I think it's a good tone. And actually I'll reabsorb it with my own paintbrush. Yep. So you can see the difference. Let's hold up try to get them without the glare. So a nice wash effect on it. We'll put him to the side. We'll try to get through these and then, okay, so I should have mixed actually a lot more because I'm going to run out before I get through all 10 of these because of the wings, I guess. So we're going to have to remix. Ooh, I really bled that one all the way through the model, but that's okay. It's oil paint. It's fun. Any of the blue that bleeds down onto the model too is not going to be necessarily a bad thing because it'll find its way into the recesses and just create nice shadows. No stress. And that looks pretty good. That's 2. We definitely, I think we got enough for 1 more. There's like a little rim and it gets on the side of the rim there. So it's hard to tell exactly how much is left. Any links on my videos, if you use them, support me. I sell my ghost brushes sets on eBay. And right now I'm in the process of working on shipping my dry brush Kickstarter, which then once the dry brush Kickstarter shipped, then I'll have those available on eBay as well. The oil paint washes are really nice because they're basically doing exactly what you wish your washes always did. Like flow into recesses and not overly stain surfaces. Try to get through as many of these as we can before we got to mix up another batch, and then we got to hope that we get it, similar in color. The dry brushes are going to be starting to ship in June, hopefully. If everything continues to go on schedule, I'll start shipping in June, and I hope to finish by October. It takes so long, so it's hard to say how long it's going to take to actually ship them all. But I'd like to start sending the first ones out in June. What I basically do is just work my way down the tiers, and it's kind of a psychological victory to be like, oh, I finished this tier, so I can, check it off, basically. Then the smaller tiers are much, much bigger, so they take a long time to ship. All right, we got half done. So since we have exactly half done, I'm going to try to remix this with, that way even if it's slightly different, at least 5 of them have it this way and 5 have it the other way. Yeah, if you click the link for eBay, it should take you to the listing for the ghost brushes. Do you mean how many orders, like, on Kickstarter? It's like 3,300 people or something like that. So it's probably like, I don't know, 50,000 paintbrushes I gotta ship, something like that. Now, good thing we tested it on this napkin, because now we can test it again. And it looks pretty close, maybe a little darker, but actually the little darker might actually look better. We'll give it one more touch of mineral spirits. Yeah, so I actually, well, after this guy, I'll show you. I primed up some little monsters for Deep Madness for that expansion I was working on. So I can continue to work on that. And what I'll probably do is, once we get through all the oil painting talk, turn off the stream, and then I can restart it with the Deep Madness painting. Just so if anybody's watching it on YouTube in the future, it makes sense that they know what they're getting when they click. So I'm going to check this guy. First, that guy. I think the new one looks, I think the darker mix looks a little better than our previous. So I might even go back and do those original 5 with this darker one. Except what's going to happen is I'm going to run out of this darker one. But yeah, this was the way to go, a little bit darker. Makes those details pop extra good. Cool. Or what we'll do maybe is just if we have some extra, darken up maybe just the X arc or whatever. I don't know. We'll just keep pushing it around a little bit here. Get the oil wash. So yeah, the oil wash, not as scary as you might think if you haven't tried it. Very forgiving. And of course, I could go back and wipe off a lot of this if I wanted. If I was really going for the grim, dark, weathered effect, I'd maybe pile this on and then use my clean brush and Q-tips to wipe away. Oh, got a little fuzzy. If you're using Q-tips to clean your models, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for little fuzzy strings of cotton that stuck to them. Better to get it off now than later, if you'll be able to even get it off later at all without damaging your paint job. Yeah, here we go. We're just about finished up with the oil washes. Hopefully this is a good real-time look into doing some oil washing on some miniatures. I'm going to go back and put some of this darker blue because it does look a little better with the darker mix on those original 5 guys. So here we go. We'll go back to the X-arc here. And it's so hard to see with the reflections, but I feel like this guy's got a better, darker look. So we're going to hit the X-arc again with this kind of darker wash. Yeah, you can see it's much darker when it goes over on the large wings. Yeah, I'm kind of sad. The first wash I thought looked okay until I saw it darker. And then now they look much better with the darker version. And it's only darker just because I mixed more blue in it. You know, just trying to match the first way, but accidentally made it a little darker. And we're going to hopefully have enough to darken up. I don't think we do. Oh. We might have to mix like just enough for one guy. Well, I think I got 3 guys left. Yeah, trying to keep it. I don't actually have to work fast, but it just feels like it's a fast medium to work with, I guess. I could do this much slower, but since I'm just washing some metallics, it's kind of loose, so I don't have to worry too much about brush accuracy. Like I said, I'll clean up mistakes when I highlight again. All right, let's try to mix up a little bit more. What I think is going to happen, though, is this mix is going to be even darker than the second mix. I should have just went with the big plastic cup there. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, that's darker. We're going to lighten that up by just putting a little bit more mineral spirits in there. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, this guy doesn't even look like he's been washed yet, and this is the second pass. So that first pass I did of the blue, I was a little too chicken and didn't go dark enough. Actually, I guess I just had to mix it up for just one guy. I think he's good. We'll put a little more on him, but I think he's fine. If I can create some shadows on their helmets, this would be a nice time to do it, to save me some trouble later. And I think I'm going to just go back and make sure the back underneath their helmets are good. That way, where it should be really dark, it is. Yeah, this guy's helmet doesn't even look dark at all. Oops, sorry, I was off camera there a little bit. Any kind of shadow and interest we can get in these helmets. You know, Eldar have these weird, smooth helmets. So getting some nice blend and gradient shadows looks good. Yeah, I think they really pop more now. You can tell they're much more golden, blue metallic. Than they originally looked when we started. So yeah, I think the busting out the oil paint was totally worth it. Now, I do think we probably could have went darker on the yellow and done a nice dark yellow brown or a nice red brown, like a burnt sienna, just all over that yellow to really darken in all those shadows. But I think I am actually going to do the shroud clear on them, or this panel liner right there, which is going to darken them a lot. But we're going to have to do that after we let all the oil paints dry. I would actually really like to try doing an oil paint model, like a whole model. That could be cool. You got to keep rinsing this off. I'm going to maybe, I'm going to make one more cup of the just clean mineral spirits, just so I can test that I clean the brush. And it looks pretty clear. Although we're still getting some on our paper towel. So it's always good to do kind of when you're cleaning oil paint off brushes, to do a multi-part kind of cleanup station. So you'll have like your mineral spirits that you rinse your brush in, and then your mineral spirits that you're going to clean the excess or remaining bits off, and then you'll switch to like your brush soap. Pink soap is a good one for oil paint, and another one is just Dawn dish soap, because Dawn cuts through grease and oil. So just a little tip, if you're doing some oil painting and you feel like you're struggling to get your paint brushes clean, do the 3-part cleaning station. So the first one, it's going to get dirty real quick, and then a more pure one, and you should be good to go. So we'll close this up. Hopefully we didn't breathe in too much harmful vapors on our Gamsol. Once again, I highly, highly recommend this over just the normal like Home Depot odorless mineral spirits, because this is actually basically odorless. And one last thing, the colors we used was a touch of Orient Lake from Sennelier, made in France. Aurelian by Rembrandt, made in Holland. And Phthalo Blue Red Shade by Rembrandt, made in Holland. And that's what we got for the oil paint wash demo on the Eldar Swooping Hawks. All the Eldar models I do are going to have some kind of oil wash on them. So by the time we get through the whole army, we'll probably get pretty good at it. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. I'll be back probably it is 3 in the morning almost, but we'll see. I might be back on here in a minute and paint some Deep Madness models. I got these guys primed up. The little zenithal prime of some kind of fleshy colors. So I was gonna maybe work on them, or it's 3 in the morning and I might, after I clean this up, might lose motivation. So thank you guys again so much for watching. Hopefully we get some more good oil paint wash content, panel lining content. As always, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. It helps, I guess, YouTube recommend the videos to other people. So I'll possibly talk to you guys in about 15 minutes or maybe tomorrow. See you soon. Thank you guys.